I worked really hard at the beginning of our marriage on trying to find an area in my wife's way of being where I felt that she just really towered over me in terms of her wisdom and her perspective, an area where she just showed such a much deeper understanding of life. And I think Ilana tried to do the same with me. And what happened with that, when you're sharing a life with someone who, bottom line, you actually really respect because they're kind of amazing at this, or at this, and at this, and at this, and at this, and at this, which is even better, it changes the dynamic in a real way. And I really recommend to anyone who's in a dating situation, who's in a marriage situation, I tell you the truth, if you've got annoying children or annoying parents, as our parents get older, these relationships, finding the area where I couldn't do that. That's awesome. They're amazing at this. Yeah, whether it's professional, whether it's personal, whether it's an area of character traits. Sometimes you can be married to someone who's just really consistent and you're really not consistent, or who's really go with the flow and you know deep down inside you're too rigid, who makes space for other people and you're kind of judgmental, whatever it might be. When you remember that you're in the presence of greatness, even in one area, it really, really helps with the step back that you need to take to be able to treat this other person as if they're not, our partners are not accessories in our lives. They're partners in our lives.
There's always only one reason why your spouse is annoying. Do you know what it is?
Attention.
Attention? No, because right now they are not being like you. Okay, if you think about it, when your spouse is being annoying, they are behaving in one way and you would like them to behave in a different way. What is the way that you'd like them to behave in? Like you. It's always the case, right? We have to be a bit more formal. You're not eating nicely because that's how we grew up. Stop being so disorganized. You should be more organized because that's how I am. The only reason that a person is annoying you is because they're not being like you, right? And you'll find this to be a consistent truth every time you're getting annoyed by your spouse. And I always find that the best antidote for that is to ask yourself the question, would you like to be married to yourself? If the answer is yes, then go ahead and be annoyed. And if the answer is no, then this is the time to celebrate the fact that the person is very different to you. And the only way that they could be less annoying is to become like you, and then you end up being married to yourself. Okay, so that's always a bad idea. I always find that very helpful to focus on. It's this side of them that's different, that in this case is annoying, but it's part of the things I love about them, right? If your spouse is less formal than you are, they're probably more fun than you are, right? If your spouse is late, then they're probably better at enjoying life. If your spouse is messy, then they're probably less controlling than you are. The things that annoy you are generally the things that make them different, and they're probably the things that are very good for you. Like I like to point out, if you are counting down to give your own spouse a hug or hold your own spouse's hand, then you're keeping something that should be within your home, in the right place within your home. It's a very, very powerful thing. We want to make sure that our values are being constantly renewed and reconnected. We want to make sure that our communication and our love and appreciation of each other is being constantly renewed and reconnected, but we also have to make sure that our physical expression and our physical drives are being constantly renewed. Our appreciation, our affection, our time with each other is also being renewed, and to be able to sort of access structures that allow for renewal without rejection, without blame, without anything other than just a system that allows for it is a wonderful thing. You put a kid on a trampoline on the top of a cliff and you say jump, that's a very scary thing. You put a kid in a trampoline in a safety net and you say jump, you're going to have a safe bounded experience that actually enhances. That is not a net that restricts, that's a net that enhances the experience, the ability to be able to create renewal by having structures in our life that allow for renewal is really a tremendous, tremendous blessing.